Hey guys, Moose here. We are back with some more RimWorld, and this is the second episode during which I thought I was recording audio, but was not. So as you can see, I'm circling the food there. We really need to get hauling that going. I believe Shaper is going to be the one to do it, but she's currently preoccupied with some other messes that we need to get cleaned up, which is fine. Food's not going to rot overnight. It's not too hot outside, I don't think, at this time. Even though it is the summer, we're in a relatively temperate area. Yeah, it's only 50 degrees. Alright, there she goes. She's working on it. So we'll get that going. Same issue with the audio as last time. I thought I'd unmuted it and I hadn't, and I was recording back to back, so this happened, unfortunately. It's just something that happens sometimes. Thankfully, this is the first time it's happened to me, but things happen, and this was a pretty good episode, so I didn't want to just throw it away. So I hope you don't mind. I kind of almost in some ways prefer this route though, because it lets me kind of talk about other things that are on my mind, not necessarily just the game. Whereas when I'm playing the game, it's difficult to divide attention and focus on playing the game, but also commentary that may not be the game itself. I'm not very good at that. I think, if you've never tried recording videos, that's a skill that you should respect, because it's dividing your attention like that can be very difficult. Multitasking is not something that's easy for people. So, anyway, I think we're looking for components right now, and there aren't any at the moment that I recall. So we're kind of SOL on this. It's either compacted machinery or spaceship chunks. And I don't think there are any that we can get at, unfortunately. I'm sure there's some hidden in the fog of war, so to speak, with the rocks, but none that we're aware of at this particular moment. So the logical next step is that we need to be able to create components. So working on the multi-analyzer is going to allow us to do that. Unfortunately, to do that, we need plasteel, which we're going to need to get from taking apart those mech corpses that we have in our freezer. And that's a whole nother thing that we're going to have to research. So we'll get there in time, but it's going to be a little bit tough for the moment. So Shaper got a little of the food hauling done. Christian's getting some done now, but she didn't do too much, to be honest. So hopefully we're going to get... I thought about turning those front doors into auto doors, but then I thought better of it because they take components, so not really something that we can afford to do too much right now, because if we start starving ourselves of components, we risk not being able to rebuild turrets if they get destroyed, which is liable to happen. So we also want to put in flooring for the rest of our home. However, there's a wall tile I forgot had been broken by the infestation last episode. But yeah, we don't quite have enough bricks to really go hard on it. And we also want to get rid of all the graves, as you can see there, which we will begin doing fairly soon. Shaper does a lot of good work on that when she's hauling, since she's kind of our principal hauler. We'll also put some statues away. That one was called Frog's Mirror, so we're going to put in Frog's Room. But these are being crafted by Philly, who's Frog's lover, or wife. I can't recall if they're married or not, so it's not surprisingly named after her. Growth for Frog. Wisdom number 8. This Divinity number 5. I like the, we missed some of the good ones. Vivian, oh no, Tidal Hugs. I'll put that in, I think that's Bud's room? I don't recall whose room that was. Silence for Yoko. That's fitting. No, we put it in Yoko's room. Okay. So Yoko doesn't get Silence for Yoko, then we got Force number 5. But yeah, I really like the names of these for the most part. One of them in Christian's room is, Christian and Shaper's room is named Want for Shaper, which I thought was funny. You get Bunchy gets, Force number 5. I just want to spread the art out, make people happy. I mean, I have it, right? Might as well make use of it. I think it might be like a beauty improvement or a mood improvement. I'm not sure how that works, to be honest. I hope it improves mood. Though we really do not have mood problems anymore. We kind of conquered that hurdle, so to speak. Mostly we just need to manage food. When you're inside, I think it's easier because keeping things clean is easier. Like when you're in a mountainside, basically, it's not quite so bad. Found a turkey. We're not hurting for food, lucky for it, so. Raccoon missing half its body. It's kind of gross. Looks like the Arctic fox took it out. Not surprising. I like that there's like a little bit of an ecosystem going on where you have prey animals and predators, and animals will eat stuff, like they'll eat crops. Hill roots are coming along slowly, as they do. But I really like that there's like a... Things need to, like even the animals need to eat, and they'll go after your crops, or they'll go after trees if they're beavers, or there's all kinds of things they'll eat, and I really enjoy that. I still object to alpha beavers constantly being there. It's annoying as hell. Extend our circuitry here so I can put in a bit more lighting, because I'm getting a little worried about infestations coming in on the far inside part of our colony here. I don't want to risk getting any more of those if I can manage it, but having said that, I think lighting still doesn't do that much. Doesn't help out, unfortunately. Wish it did. I hope that's something they add in the future, but I don't think it makes much of a difference right now. Tiled floor either. I mean, maybe you'd have to have like everything tiled and then it would be fine, but they'll go indoors, tiled, untiled, lit, unlit. I haven't noticed any particular things stopping them. Looks like we don't have any power there yet, so we're gonna have to build a little bit of extra power conduits here to get power out into the hallway so that we can light it up. Just kind of want to make sure everything's decently well lit. Thankfully, standing lamps are pretty cheap to make, so it's a good situation for us to be able to get lighting going all around. And I can't believe we still have our frickin' I guess it's not really a priority to move it, but we still have our our like jail cell outside made of wood. There's not really much reason to not keep doing that. Just murdered a random squirrel. It's eating our food, or eating our heel roots actually, which is a big problem. Little bastard, you're not allowed to do that. We need those. Medicine's important. Really need the food and the medicine to keep coming in. We got rice and potatoes, I think. Very boring, but their rice grows real quick. Potatoes are pretty good too, so I think that's a good good pair to have going on. Don't need to worry too much about any other foods, hopefully. Still looking for machinery, I think, but I don't think there's any to be found, unfortunately. We're just going to have to start digging into stuff, and the problem with that is you're going to run into infestations more. So, I really don't like infestations. Very frustrating to deal with. I feel, I mean, maybe it's just because my particular colony is kind of on an eclipse, that's going to be a problem. We're already not really holding on to too much power, and it's about to hit morning. But I feel like infestations are maybe a little bit too powerful for at least my colony. It seems... this is something I talked about before, maybe I can talk about it a little more. It seems like you're not really... I feel like in a game like this, if you make the right choices when you're faced with a problem, barring like chronic mismanagement, which you could argue maybe occurred here, but unless you really screwed up in a really visible, avoidable way much earlier, and I feel like if it's a screw up like that happened earlier, it needs to be visible, and you need to know that you screwed up. And the games like this have a very hard time telling you that you screwed up in that way because there's so much going on, and it's not something a lot of people realize needs to be visible, I feel. So they don't really tell the player too much, and it turns into a little bit of a problem. But the problem I have here is I feel like if you get a situation like a raid or an infestation or some manhunters, anything like that, whatever they throw at you needs to be beatable. Oh, hey, we found some machinery. I had no idea that was there. Alright, well, back to what I was saying. It needs to be beatable in a reasonable way. And, like, in a standard situation, again, like where the game expects you to be. And I feel like this game might expect you to be a little bit more competent than I am, I guess. At least that's how I feel. But, no, we got gold too. I forgot about that. We need that for the multi-analyzer. Hopefully there's some more in the back there like I'm showing, but no guarantee there is. There probably isn't. Actually, if I remember right, there isn't. But yeah, I just get the impression that the sometimes you just get fucked. And, like, I know RNG can be okay, but you need to manage it properly and you need to use it correctly. And this is... I feel like if there's times in a game where you're just wrecked and there's nothing you can do, and it's just, you got screwed, that's not a good thing. Because it takes agency out of the player's hands. And the most important thing in a game, I feel, is giving the player agency over their fate and, like, having them control what happens to some degree. And that's, you know, obviously that's not completely straightforward because you don't necessarily care about... Well, the player doesn't really need to be able to control the outcome of the story. But they need to be able to control their ability to progress through the story. For example, in like a first-person shooter, single-player first-person shooter. So, you know, in a game like that, you probably wouldn't have them impacting the outcome of the game, really. Like Doom, there's no way, like, the story's the story, and it's not a big focus. And there's other games where the story is a decent focus, but it's still basically linear. Like with, let's say, a Final Fantasy game, for example. There's no multiple endings generally in Final Fantasy games, as far as I'm aware. You just play the game, and you progress through it in a linear fashion. And there's maybe slightly different paths you can take to get somewhere by doing... oh, wait a minute, what? Christian and Bunchy have come together as lovers. Shaper is not going to be too happy about that. She has a negative 20 mood penalty, cheated on by Christian. Wow. That came out of left field. Bunchy, you motherfucker. Yep. 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 Cheated on me, minus 70. Ex-lover, minus 15. Yeah, Christian and Shaper do not get along now. Which is unfortunate, because those are like our two most important people. Christian doesn't really like Shaper either. Ex-lover, minus 15. But that's it, though. Like, he doesn't hate her. Yeah, a lot of people like Christian still. What a dick. How could you bail on Shaper, the most important colonist we have? And then Bunchy likes Christian a lot, obviously. Does not like Shaper. That's not surprising. Wow. Well, that's pretty much... I'm surprised. I mean, I didn't... Yes, obviously I knew that happened because I'm re-recording audio for this, but the surprise is not entirely fake. I forgot that it showed up here at this particular moment. I thought it was later in the episode, and also, it is shocking. Honestly, it's still shocking. Like, I don't know what the hell... I get that it's just a dice roll, but man, what a dick move. Christian's kind of an asshole. I hope Shaper's gonna be okay through this. She doesn't start killing people. But I talked about this in the unrecorded audio for this. If I had to pick one of them, who would it be? So Shaper is definitely better. From just a straight character perspective, Shaper's better, and it's also the morally right choice because she's not the one that got cheated on, or she got cheated on. She didn't cheat. Christian's the one who cheated, so it should be Christian who has to go. Or die. Dying was much more likely in this situation. We're just doing some trading in the background here. But on the other side, something I didn't consider previously was that Christian dying or you know, getting killed by Shaper or whatever is going to have a negative mood impact on Bungie much more than anything Shaper does will. Because Shapers, they're both colonists, so there's the base level mood penalties for one of them dying, but Christian is much more embedded now because he is actually in a relationship, whereas Shaper is now single. So yeah, I don't know. But I think you gotta be loyal to Shaper. You gotta keep Shaper. Christian's the one who's gotta go. If someone has to go, it's gotta be Christian. I don't think that's open for debate, personally. Even though Christian has some useful skills. Got a man-animal, it's just a rabbit. It's gonna suicide into the visitors and get the shit kicked out of it. And it's already dead. Yep, not at all surprising. Extra meat. No big deal. Yep, I was right. No more gold. It's too bad, but it's enough for us to build a multi-analyzer, so we just need to get the plasteel. We're fine. Christian also moved into Bunchie's bedroom, if you hadn't noticed that. Just a little fucked up. He just moved straight from Shaper's bed to Bunchie's. What a dick. And it's funny because I think right now Bunchie's the least happy person in the whole colony. I don't even know why. Yeah. Christian's good at growing, construction, research, and social. I think he's our best social. But Shaper's Shaper, man. Like, Shapers are one combat person that right off the bat can tell you that there's no way we're going for anyone for a Christian. Shaper's just too valuable. But even if you took away the combat, I think you still go with Shaper. I mean, it's at that point, it would be the wrong choice from a gameplay standpoint, but come on. You gotta side with Shaper in this one. No contest whatsoever. Every colonist of female gender winces in pain. Psychic drone. It's gonna make life real uncomfortable for both Shaper and Bungie. It's unfortunate. Not really a hell of a lot we can do about it, but that's life. Yeah, we mostly cleaned everything up. Oh, we installed that water pump. I forgot about that. It is... Oh, it's got radius expands in 7 days, 23 hours. Okay. I have no idea how water pumps work. We'll have to see what happens, but it should be interesting to be sure. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. Get ourselves some more fertile ground, since we got a whole bunch there. Hopefully that's what's under the water there, and then we can have a perma farm where the power generation is right now. Put power generation somewhere else, and then we'll be in decent shape for year-round food production, which will help a lot, even though I think we still need meat. I think you need, I'm not sure, but you might need meat for every meal to be able to make like a full meal cooked, which would be kind of unfortunate. But I think at the very least, I think you can't just make it out of rice and potatoes, which is too bad because I love carbs. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join us in the next one as well. Take care.